Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight, TransInclusive Group, International Transgender Day of Visibility Edition. This special broadcast is celebrating the worldwide March 31st day that reminds the world of the importance of the visibility of our beautiful transgender community. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Adriana Tender, the program coordinator at TransInclusive Group. This evening, we bring you the news and perspective representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it. This special news show for International Transgender Day of Visibility is brought to you by Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbian, trans, students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, political advocacy, and faith. Help us support our community. We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community. Tonight's special will not only bring you the important trans visibility stories told by the trans community, but we will also go to Fort Lauderdale's Wilton Drive for the Transgender Day of Visibility March, and then the program at the Pride Center at Equality Park. Let's welcome Nick Zantop. They are the Deputy Director of TransInclusive Group, one of America's most important grassroots trans support organizations. Let's also welcome Tatiana Williams. She is the Executive Director of TransInclusive Group and one of America's most recognized advocates for the transgender community. We also have with us Ariana Lent. She is the founder of the trans advocacy organization Ariana Center and the South Florida chapter of the Trans Latina Coalition. Last but not least, we have Morgan Mayfair. He is the Executive Director of Trans Social and coordinates South Florida's Trans Pride. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we celebrate the trans community. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Friday, March 31st, 2023. And this is International Transgender Day of Visibility. International Transgender Day of Visibility spotlights attention on the entire LGBTQ+ community. Each year, on March 31st, the world observes Transgender Day of Visibility to raise awareness about transgender people. It is a day to celebrate the lives and contributions of the trans people while also drawing attention to the poverty, discrimination, and violence the community faces. International Trans Day of Visibility was created in 2010 by trans advocate Rachel Crandall in response to the overwhelming majority of media stories about transgender people being focused on violence. She hoped to create a day where people could refocus on celebrating the lives of transgender people. According to the Gallup, while only about 30% of the general population says they personally know a trans person, that percentage drastically varies when segmented by age. For example, 19% of Americans claim that when they're over 65, claim to know someone trans, while only half of Americans under the age of 30 do. This isn't surprising when taking into account that 1 in 6 Gen Z adults identify as LGBTQ. But there has also been a growing backlash from anti-LGBTQ+ advocates who are targeting trans people, especially children, now that marriage equality was made law in the U.S. But while the trans community is the focus of the majority of GOP anti-LGBTQ+ legislation, Transgender Day of Visibility gives the entire LGBTQ+ community the opportunity to celebrate our trans and non-binary members. That's why it is still necessary for trans people to be seen through authentic stories to reflect the actual lived experiences of trans people. That is why this special Queer News Tonight edition is so important. This is believed to be the world's first trans-led news show in connection with International Transgender Day of Visibility. So when I think about Trans Day of Visibility, I think that it's very important for us to be visible. There are so many things that happen to our community and that people don't even really know what's going on with us. And I'm excited that we have this chance to show the march and to show our program here on our station. I think that's going to be great. What do you think about it?
I think with Trans Day of Visibility, I think it's important because oftentimes when it comes to the transgender community, we're always focusing on the bad things that are happening with the community. It's always about the need, although needs are important, however, but there's a lot of resilience and there's a lot of brilliancy within our community. So this day highlights that, and I think that's important to let community know that we are doing great things in our community.
And it's crucial in this moment, a specific geographic. We are in Florida, where our transgender community is under attack. And it's so important have the good histories of our life. Right now, this table is so empowered, and we can show to the people that transgender, we can do amazing things and we can impact the community, and that is Visibility Day.
Yeah, there's so much power in visibility. There's so much power in representation. Us being present at this table and being present in so many rooms out in our communities, there's a lot of power in that. And I think it's so important that we uplift and center the trans community, not only on March 31st, but throughout the entire year.
Absolutely. I think it's really important, not just for our community, but it's also important for the cisgender community to get to know us and to know that we're not always the victims of attacks or the victims of society, but that we can thrive and that we can be extremely productive members of our community.
I really think that's great. And when I sit and think about it, it reminds me of a story about my next door neighbor. My neighbor had no idea that I was trans, and she was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're trans." She says, "You're just like anyone else." And I think that's the thing that people need to know. I think they need to realize that we're just like everyday people. We go to work, we pay bills, we pay taxes, we have kids, we have husbands, we have families. We just want to be recognized as such.
Exactly.
Now,
okay. Historic number of 2023 anti-LGBTQ+ laws sweeping U.S. from State House to Congress. Laws restricting gender expression in public and in private have been around in the U.S. for more than 100 years, with one in New York only being repealed in 2021. Unfortunately, as of 2023, International Transgender Day of Visibility, the year legislative session begins. Politicians across the country have already introduced nearly 400 total bills restricting LGBTQ people, targeting their freedom of expression, the safety of transgender students, and access to health care for gender dysphoria. The bills being introduced attack LGBTQ+ people, particularly trans youth, in 7 primary areas, including healthcare access, school and education, free speech and expression, access to accurate IDs, weakening civil rights laws, public accommodations, and other anti-LGBTQ bills. More than half of these bills focus on the trans community. In 2022, the ACLU tracked a record-breaking 278 bills targeting the LGBTQ people, largely focused on trans youth. 20 became law, including 17 aimed at restricting the rights of transgender student athletes. Chase Strandiago, Deputy Director of Transgender Justice at the ACLU's LGBTQ+ and HIV project, said, end quote, "Across the country, trans people and our families are gearing up to fight back and prevent every one of these bills from becoming law." End of quote. The history of LGBTQ people in the U.S. shows we are hardly strangers to having our healthcare politicized and our safety threatened by misinformation and misguided politicians. Even in the face of such an unprecedented effort to deny our existence, we are only more determined to build the future we all deserve. So the word misinformation was used by me right there. And I'm going to say that a misinformation is a lie. And many of those things that they say about our community are lies. And many of the things that they're using to base these bills, specifically in Florida, against the health care of children, of trans children, are all lies. There are no surgeries that are performed on trans children, okay? If anyone speaks of having these surgeries in the past, it was way before we had WPATH. These surgeries do not exist. It's done to really over-dramatize and to confuse people. What do you think?
I think it's so important to mention the importance of the White House or the federal level in helping us and in support us. I think it's so important. My organization hosting this year a gathering, a focus group with Rachel Levine, who is the Vice Secretary of Health, and we bring these issues, and it's so important this kind of legislator or important people in the federal level listen our histories, our true histories, and nobody have to tell the history about us. Only we can give the correct history.
Right. And I totally agree with you. Yesterday we was at a rally on Wilton Drive in regards to flags and our trans healthcare and our drag performers. And I think that it's important that our stories are heard. I was saying to myself, I'm wondering where are they coming up with these bills or who they're talking to, because it seems like the trans community is not involved when we're having these conversations and all of these things. I'm not sure where they're getting them from. So I think that is important, like education and us being on a platform like this to be able to educate those individuals. You know, the other day I spoke about, you know, you don't necessarily have to accept what we're doing, but respect us. Mm-hmm. But no, you should accept it, because we accept a lot of things that are happening now in the community. Agreed. And we should be treated the same.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You know, a couple things really stick out for me. When it comes to gender-affirming healthcare, you know, this is life-saving healthcare. This is healthcare that saves trans and non-binary lives. Mm-hmm. And the state of Florida is ranked, I believe we're 47th when it comes to healthcare access in the entire U.S. So this is a state where our healthcare systems are already broken. And instead of trying to fix a broken system, we have a state that is trying to restrict healthcare even further than it already is. This is not easy to access for anyone, much less for trans people. Healthcare is really, really hard to access, and they are trying to restrict this life-saving care. Another thing that really jumps out at me, last year, I believe the number was 278 bills across the U.S. targeting LGBTQ+ people. And this year, legislative sessions are just getting underway in the U.S. And right here in Florida, you know, we're only a few weeks into legislative session, and we already have even more bills than ever before. Across the U.S., I believe it's more than 430 bills right now taking aim at our community. So we're seeing the attacks against our community growing, and I think that's a response to this widespread fear, this widespread misinformation that Morgan spoke about. And, you know, it's really, really important that we all use the platforms that we have, every space that we go into, take up that space, occupy that space with our voices, with our presence, with our visibility.
And I think that it's best that we all get involved. We have to make sure we're voting. We have to make sure that our stories are getting told. And that makes me want to mention the fact that, you know, the Dolphin Democrats, as well as the Human Rights Campaign, are sending people to Tallahassee to tell our stories on April 3rd and April 4th. And I hope that each one of you, and we get as many people as possible to fill that bus and take it to Tallahassee and tell our stories.
Yeah, but I think especially in Florida, is just a personal feeling from the government. The government don't look, the DeSantis is don't looking at us as a human being. He just put those kind of laws because he have a personal feelings to pursue the president, be a candidate, and that's why he know transgender have a lot of attention when we're talking about political and president candidates. So that is, I think, is more personal feeling of him as against the transgender community.
Great.
The Trans Underground Railroad is beginning to form refuge states and Canada. Establishing Minnesota as a trans refuge is another vote and a gubernatorial signature away from becoming law. It is just one of many states that are considering how to help the American trans community in the face of the largest culture war ever seen in this century. The Minnesota House this week approved a bill supporters say will make Minnesota a refuge for transgender people. The vote was 68 to 62 and came following hours of debate on other legislation. The bill protects trans patients and providers of gender-affirming health care from legal action in other states where such care is banned or restricted, creating a safe haven in Minnesota. Many states, especially to protect from southern states, are considering asylum for the LGBTQ+ community, reminding people of the escape route built during the Civil War. The Underground Railroad was a network of clandestine routes and safe houses established in the U.S. during the early to mid-19th century to protect enslaved African Americans and help them escape into free states and Canada. However, the recent U.S.-Canada border deal is meant to halt the flow of asylum seekers at unofficial border crossings. Migrants caught crossing anywhere along the 3,145-mile border can now be sent back. Canada is considering exemption legislation for trans people that feel that they are endangered and to create human rights sanctuary status for them. The irony is that if it became law, Canada would be providing human rights sanctuary status for Americans. So I think this really highlights this idea that so many of us in America have, that we are the freest country on earth. And as we look at our history and what's going on right now, I think there's so much for us to confront. That, you know, perhaps our freedoms are being eroded. A lot of the progress that we've been seeing made forward, it's now moving in a backwards direction. And the idea of our neighbors to the north perhaps having, you know, a better place for our trans siblings, for other states outside of states like Florida and Texas being a better place for our trans siblings, I think it really speaks to where we are right now. And there's a lot for us to confront. And this involves conversations at dinner tables with our family, with our friends, speaking up for those voices of people who can't always be in those spaces, speaking up for themselves. What do you all think?
So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to say that our country, and I want everyone to know that I love my country very much, has a long history of lying about certain things, lying about slavery, lying about equality for many people. There's a lot that's been swept under the rug and that needs to be acknowledged. This whole thing about critical race theory, it's American history, okay? You know, they're using word games to turn things around to confuse people, you know, and I recommend that people do their own little research, you know, read a little history, find out what these words actually mean, you know, investigate the truth. Because it's true, the truth will set us all free.
I was telling someone again the other day about myself transitioning in the late 80s and how we had to advocate and how we had to fight. And it seems like we was getting to a place Now here in 2023, it seems like we're going backwards. It seems like all the work that we did is like we're turning back. And for me, I think that within the entire LGBTQ community, we definitely have to know that, you know, most of our community members always thought about like marriage equality, right? And not thinking about other communities that they're not connected to. And I think it's important that now that they are understanding that this is not only impacting us as L, G, and B, but it's also impacting the transgender community. And if we don't come together and if we don't move in solidarity, I'm more than sure that this government will dismantle everything that we put in place. So we have to figure out a way, although we may have our differences, but how do we work together to be able to dismantle what they're trying to put in place?
Especially if we're talking about refugees and immigration. I am, you know, at my English, I am the only immigrant in this panel. And I live in United States, but I think it's so important. United States have to have a good immigration laws and inclusion for transgender individuals, because my organization get a lot of transgender who they leave the ICE detention center, and they cannot work, they cannot do nothing, and for 1 year, and they government or something just push to make a sex worker.
Right.
So we need to have a good project for immigrants. They come into United States and helping trans roots organization as this table to get those services to the most vulnerable community.
Yes.
For the life of me, this drives me completely crazy to think that we would have to go to another country to be able to live and thrive and survive. You know, when they mentioned the Underground Railroad and the things that my ancestors had to go through just to live, and to think that us as trans people would have to do something similar, it just boggles my mind to think that I would have to go somewhere besides from where I was born to find health care and to find solidarity.
Yes. And Canada is too cold for me.
Me too, girl. Me too.
Yeah. And you know, like Adriana was saying, you know, there are so many lessons in our history that remind us of what kind of horrible things can happen if we don't stand up for marginalized communities. And the time to do that is right now. It is absolutely right now.
The need for grassroots trans nonprofits as they educate allies and enemies. State legislatures nationwide have considered a record number of anti-transgender bills over the last 2 years, and fatal violence against the LGBTQ plus community, especially the trans community, is also at an all-time high. News centered on the trans community is often dominated by such trends, but across the country, grassroots nonprofit groups led by transgender people are creating spaces for their communities to find safety and joy. The importance of these organizations increased against the backdrop of the recent increase in the anti-LGBTQ plus laws across the state and in the country. The rise in attacks on drag shows and performers and restrictions on the existence and acceptance of LGBTQ plus students in the educational institutes in many states. International Trans Day of Visibility gives our Queer News tonight to focus our lens on some of those vital nonprofits and their contributions to our LGBTQ plus community. The following are directly involved in the March Transgender Day of Visibility and programs. TransInclusive Group was founded in 2017. They advocate to protect and defend equality for all transgender and LGBTQ plus individuals in South Florida. TransInclusive is led by trans people and provides education and lifeline services for trans community. The McKinsey Project is a Black trans-led organization in South Florida. They aim to uplift Black transgender and non-binary individuals ages 18 and up. The project is the brainchild of Jasmine McKenzie. Ariana Center engages, empowers, and lifts up the trans community of South Florida. The organization has a special focus on trans women of color. Adriana Lynn is the founder of this important organization. Trans Social is a trans-led organization serving our LGBTQ plus community. The McKinsey Project and Trans Social have teamed up to bring 2 trans-focused resource centers in South Florida and present the annual Trans Pride. when so many in the LGBTQ plus community are talking about the need for support of the trans community, among our other letters, your support of grassroots trans nonprofits, whether in South Florida or across America, is more important than ever.
So I just want to ask a question, since I have all of you here at the table, instead want to take this small time. Can I ask you why you decided that there was a need for TransInclusive Group?
My reason for feeling that there was a need for TransInclusive Group, as I mentioned, I transitioned back in the 80s. And in that space, there was a lot of things that was happening with my community. There was a lot of houselessness, of which I didn't really understand. There was a lot of community members that was experiencing complications from HIV, of which I didn't understand. So these things were impacting my community. And I thought that it would be important now that I am educated, I understand what's going on in my community, to make sure, in specific to Black trans women, to ensure that they had the quality of care that is needed for them to have a full life. So for me, I used my platform and used myself because of someone that was a former sex worker, right? And doing all of those things. And I was able to come from that. So I want to use me as an example that it can be done and you can improve your quality of life. That was why I did that.
Ariana?
Well, I think just in this table, as I mentioned before, this is a table full of leadership and how we can show to the community with little help or with a lot of support, how we can make the impact in the community. Because of the organizations here, trans-led organizations, and we need more.
Yes.
As a trans-led organization, as a trans-led CEOs, we demanding we need more people working with the mission and the passion just to highlight the community and lift our community. I think that is so important.
I want Morgan to go, but I want to challenge that we need more. I think we need more funding to give us the ability to do more work and to hire more staff. I don't think we need more organizations. I think we need more money to be able to do
more
work.
local funding.
Yeah.
Because we funding from nationwide nationwide foundation. But what's happening locally here? So we need more funding here.
Because to be clear, you know, our organizations, everyone around this table, we still are doing our basic missions of fighting against housing inequities, of food insecurity, of ensuring that people have access to healthcare. But now we have all of these state attacks against our community, and so we're having to focus on that as well. So our capacities are stretched very, very thin right now. So we need more funding for sure. What do you think, Morgan?
They utilize that funding to other organizations who do reflecting the most vulnerable organizations. So I think it's so important for us.
Last but not least, Morgan.
Thank you. My organization does more or less the same thing that everybody else here at this table does, okay? But my most important focus is actually bringing unity between all those letters in the acronym. If you really look at that, there is a huge difference between the trans community and the other letters. And it's the reason why my organization puts the T first. Okay, T is about gender. The other letters are about sexuality. And a transgender person can have any one of those sexualities as well. Right. So it is very important to me to bring unity to our community because we are so much stronger together. And that comment about funding, absolutely, hallelujah. It is the truth. We do what we do counting pennies and squeezing them every which way we possibly can. With the current attacks, we've had to change some of our focus to handle those. And I'm going to say this before I forget, because I am the oldest person here, okay? Don't panic if you're trans.
Right.
No matter what you see coming forward, we've got plans to help you and cover you. We have existed from the beginning of time, and no one is going to wipe us out.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to get that point across, and I want to thank you all for coming.
I love it.
Hotspots Happening Out unveils mission for the 10 pillars of LGBTQ plus community, includes trans. Hotspots Happening Out television network is Florida's LGBTQ plus media outlet. It is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. The ultimate mission of the Happening Out television network is to raise a voice and a support of important LGBTQ plus issues. The organization focuses on the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ plus community, including lesbian, Black, Latino, Latina, students, and our youth. seniors, HIV/AIDS and health issues, political advocacy for LGBTQ+ civil rights, faith, business support for LGBTQ+ ownership and business, and most importantly, the trans community. Hotspots Happening Out is the world's first nonprofit LGBTQ+ media company that's dedicated to this mission in print, digital, online, and especially through streaming television. There has never been an International Transgender Day of Visibility television program like this, and it is provided because of their commitment to the 10 pillars of the LGBT+ community. I think that's amazing. I think that it's great to have our allies come and support us and have them be here for us. What do you say?
I think that I love allies, you know. I just think that it's important that some of our allies within the LGBTQ community understand the importance of giving us that space and understanding that we can stand on their shoulders and that they don't always have to be in the forefront. And so for me, I oftentimes see a lot of our community that are saying that they're allies. And I think if they were really true comrades and allies, that we'll be a little bit further in our mission to equality if they just really understand, as Ariana mentioned earlier, about organizations receiving funding that are not specifically led by trans community members. I think it's important to note that, right? And these are the same organizations, correct me if I'm wrong, that are LGBTQ led, right? So in that, you know, just understanding like the mission and understanding what it is that we're trying to do and ensuring that that inclusiveness is across the board.
I don't like the word ally. I prefer co-conspirator. Don't stand behind me. Stand next to me.
Okay.
Exactly.
Some people, they say they are allies, but they're no allies. They are maybe friends of a transgender, but they don't understand the community. Because when you ally of the community, you have to help and lift up the entire community, not just one part, or you cannot hate one group to the entire community. That is not going to happen in the transgender community. Listen to me.
Right, yeah. Allyship is about action. It's about being an accomplice, being there to sometimes stand in front when trans lives are at risk, and to know when to take that back seat when trans people are able to lead our own initiatives as well. So we need our allies, we need our accomplices, we need our advocates to really pour back into our trans community and to understand that trans people are not a monolith. And just because you are an ally to one trans person doesn't mean that you understand the experience of all trans people. Trans people are an incredibly diverse group of people. Just like Morgan mentioned, you know, trans people can be any of those other letters as well: lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual, asexual. We are incredibly diverse. So it's about getting heterosexual even. Yes, I guess they exist. So, yeah, it's about, yep, exactly.
Well, you know, our allies are extremely necessary. We know that we can't really get ahead without them. We need them to be there for us and to give us support. But we also need them to understand us and get to know us better. So I would recommend, if you want to be an ally, come out to any one of these organizations, visit us, get to know us, talk to us, become a part of us, volunteer your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's not just about fighting for trans rights, because all of our rights are intersectional. It's about being there for the fight for Black lives. It's about being there for the fight for reproductive justice, because all of these things are tied to trans rights as well.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Tatiana?
No, I'm
The vital role the transgender community played in the LGBTQ+ civil rights movement. June 28, 1969 marks the beginning of the Stonewall Uprising, a series of events between police and the LGBTQ+ protesters that stretched over 6 days. It is credited as the start not only of the LGBTQ+ civil rights in America, but worldwide. At the forefront of the riots and the early movement were transgender and nonconforming women of color, like Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, and Miss Major Griffin Gracie. Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera were self-proclaimed vibrant drag performers and co-founders of the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, or STAR. to help and protect queer, homeless youth and sex workers, populations in which transgender people of color were disproportionately represented. Most young LGBTQ members of today's community have little awareness of how vital the trans community's involvement is in the spark of the queer liberation. Post the Stonewall riots, in 1973, homosexuality was removed as a mental illness. By the 1990s, the American Medical Association embraced and supported healthcare and support of the trans community as normal. In January 2015, for the first time in U.S. history, the world used the word transgender, and it was used in a State of the Union address. In the same year, the military allowed transgender Americans to serve openly. In May 2016, the Obama administration publicly supported transgender students and paved the path for new visibility. In November 2018, more than 150 LGBTQ+ candidates got elected to official recognition by the National Park Service, and in May 2019, New York City honored LGBTQ activists Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera with monuments. Next year, a visitor center is set to open at the Stonewall National Monument, and will share the rich history of the Stonewall Inn and its impact on the LGBTQ+ civil rights movement. At the heart of that will be our transgender community's contributions to the launch of those civil rights. This is extremely interesting to me because both of my trans mothers were actually at Stonewall. And someone I consider very close to me, who happens to be a mentor to me, which is Miss Majors, that's what we always call her. Anyway, she was here for a while and visited us, and we keep in touch constantly. She was there, and she was able to tell me a very, very good account of what actually happened there. One of the most beautiful things about that account that she gave me that isn't commonly known is that in the area of the Stonewall Inn, there were many Black bars and Latino bars that were not LGBTQ. And when the riots occurred, they came out and joined the fight against the police. So if we can join together at that moment, at that crucial moment, why can't we join together to fight what's happening now?
And that's beautiful. And I love that, you know, Ms. Major pointed that out and gave you that history. But I mean, we are here and we're trying to move in that space of solidarity. But oftentimes it gets missed when we're thinking about trans women of color being at the forefront of that movement. And I think it's almost like with history, we have to continuously remind our other community members like who was at the forefront. And as we spoke about resources and services, still organizations that are led by trans women of color and that are doing the work in the trans community are still underserved and still don't have the resources that they need when we were on the forefront way back then. So we also have to note that so we can continue to provide that education for community. We'll know that we've been fighting this fight a long time.
And not just for ourselves.
Exactly.
That we actually fought that fight for everyone in the LGBTQ community.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like if you know how they say that if you don't know your history, you'll end up repeating it.
Oh yeah.
And it seems like, you know, that was happening back then. And when I think about last night or yesterday at the march, it was just 2 Black trans women that were out there, and our non-binary friends that was out there advocating for the community.
Yeah,
for
I was
all
there.
of us.
Yeah.
And Morgan.
Yeah. You know what?
And Ashley.
I just slapped.
I was there.
But I think it was organized by allies, no? Not by the transgender community.
No, it was actually
Was organized by allies.
Was organized by allies, to her point, and the trans community came in at the end.
And that allies
we're gonna
don't invite my
respect that.
organization.
We're going to respect
for
that.
March.
Yeah, so to Adriana's point of, you know, when you don't know your history, it's so easy to repeat it. And we are in a state where they are trying to make it really hard for people to know what their history is. They are trying to erase LGBTQ plus history from classrooms. They're trying to erase African American history from classrooms. And all of these different histories are American history. America is an incredibly diverse country, and everyone's history is our collective history. So when we erase those histories, exactly, it is so easy to repeat history. And there are a lot of dark, dark things in our history that we do not want to repeat. So it's so important that we fight back against what's going on with them trying to take out what can be taught in our schools, with what teachers can share with their students.
Gay senators have courage, breaks down in tears as he apologizes to trans people for GOP colleagues. Nebraska State Senator John Frederickson broke down in tears this week as he apologized to transgender people for Republican state senators' vicious attack and disgusting comments about trans people. Transgender people have been targeted by the religious right and Republican politicians repeatedly in recent years, both in the state and at the federal level. But in Nebraska, the GOP has been particularly vicious when Frederickson took to the podium to speak as a member of the LGBTQ plus community. He spoke directly to trans Nebraskans saying, "Heads up, chins up, we are survivors. A filibuster is a tactic used in U.S. Senate to delay or block a vote on a measure by preventing debate on it from ending. This was part of the longest filibuster in Nebraska's history to stop the anti-trans legislation."
To my LGBTQ family, I spoke to you at the beginning of the week, and I'll speak to you again. Regardless of what happens today, heads up, chins up. We're survivors. Me standing in this room is proof of that. Colleagues, this is an opportunity for courage. Some of us in this room have to practice courage every day showing up here. Please be courageous. With that, I'll withdraw my motion.
So watching that video, my first thought is why he's the only one that is apologizing, right? For something like that has happened. And, you know, it just goes back to what we was talking about earlier, you know, and I hate to be like someone that is always pointing out like what's wrong, you know, what do we see, but how do we really educate our communities on doing better? And I'm glad that he stood up, you know, and he apologized, but I feel like there should have been more apologies to follow, not just him apologizing.
Yeah, we need...
We take his apologies.
Yeah.
I love it.
We need more lawmakers to get aggressive with their advocacy for our community. We need them to stand up in those state houses and take up space and remind people of what's at stake, because there's an awful lot at stake for all of us.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, our civil rights are at stake. Our rights as human beings are at stake. And we're actually being used as a political ploy between two parties that basically want to take the White House and are dividing the country. Mm-hmm. And in the process of this division of country, they're, you know, scapegoating the trans community, the transgender community, the non-binary community. I personally think it's out of fear, not because we're weak, but because we're as strong as we are. And because if you look at statistics of how many of the American youth are setting forth and telling their parents they're LGBTQ, they're afraid because what they're labeling as their enemies lives right in their home.
International Transgender Day of Visibility spotlights attention on why you should know the Center for Transgender Equality. The National Center for Transgender Equality was founded in 2003 by transgender advocates who recognized the urgent need for policy change to advance transgender equality. With a committed board of directors, a volunteer staff of one, and donated office space, they set out to accomplish what no one had done, to provide a powerful transgendered advocacy presence in Washington, D.C. Today, NCTE is a team of hardworking staff members supported by a nationwide community of transgendered people, allies, and advocates with an extensive record of winning life-saving change for transgender people, led by Executive Director Rodrigo Hing Leitner. The organization works primarily in the areas of policy advocacy and media activism. It focuses on discrimination in employment, to access to public accommodations, fair housing, identity documents, hate crimes and violence, criminal justice reform, federal research surveys, and the census and healthcare access. I think that this organization is incredible and is needed.
Oh, absolutely. I do a lot of national work myself, working with them and the Transgender Law Center and a lot of things. And through our work, and I didn't know the part about them doing a lot of media work in terms of their advocacy work. And I think that is brilliant. And, now with TransInclusive Group, we started as a support group, and that we are moving on a national media level, like, just to wake up, and the deputy directors have to, give reports to Newsweek and this person and that person. Like, I need a quote from you really quick. And they're amazing with that, like waking me up out of my bed and I'm giving a quick quote and I'm like, and they go and do what they got to do with it. So I love that. And so I'm just excited that we have more organizations and that the work is disseminating throughout the country so we have plenty of leaders like yourself and Ariana and Morgan are doing this work, so we can definitely have that visibility. And that's what Trans Day of Visibility is about. So making sure that we all are highlighted in the work that we're doing in our respective communities.
I love the organization, TNC, because the TNC gave me an award in 2017, the Andy Craig Award for Leadership for Inclusion and Healthcare. So I working very close with NCTE, before with Mara and now with Rodrigo. Yes. And Rodrigo is amazing. Actually, he's a friend of mine and he helped me personally in many things. So I love NCTE, and thank you so much to highlight the Visibility Day and helping NCTE.
Well, I happen to love them because Rodrigo is a very dear friend of mine. Yes. We keep in touch and he comes to visit quite often. I don't know if I should point out that his mother is Ileana Roth Laitman, and well-known Republican whose votes primarily have been to support the community all throughout her career. Yes. And she still does. She's actually come out to our center, our Joy and Liberation Center in Miami, and Rodrigo has also been there a few times. And I also want to focus on the fact that they're Latino, and they happen to be from South Florida, which is something that's very important to me. They care and they really do want to stand up and help the community and to keep in touch. And anytime, that this program would like to have Rodrigo here, I can have him come visit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that really highlights the importance of advocacy happening on that interpersonal level with family members and the power that has to really change hearts and minds. And also on a national level in Washington, D.C., every industry, whether it's lawyers, big tobacco, they've got lobbyists who are fighting on their behalf in Washington, D.C.
Right.
So for us as a community, it's so important that we have people in those spaces fighting for us and our rights as well.
This special edition of Queer News Tonight is broadcasting at the Happening Out television studios on the campus of Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Sunshine Cathedral is proud to join in our celebration of our trans community and the International Transgender Day of Visibility.
I'm Evan Almanzar, and I'm with Sunsurf Youth Leadership Council, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
This is today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ+ evening news show. It is our community. It's important to you. Share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most Americans, part of our very large television audience, watching this live LGBTQ+ news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV? Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Adriana Tender, and on behalf of these trans reporters, the LGBTQ anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Nick Zantop, Tatiana Williams, Ariana Lent, and Morgan Mayfair, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. Celebrate the trans community, vital members of our LGBTQ+ community. We are proud to now go to the International Transgender Day of Visibility March on Wilton Drive and the program at South Florida's Pride Center at Equality Park, being led by our trans organizations, TransInclusive Group, Ariana Center, Trans Social, and the McKinsey Project.
Check, check. Hello, everyone. Oh, you guys can do better than that. You know how much, yeah, right? Right. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Faye Watt from the Happening Out Television Network. It is truly an honor, and honestly, I'm humbled to be up here to assist this incredible group of folks that are putting on this incredible program for you this evening. So, you know, we didn't have the march today, right? Damn rain. Didn't they know? No, maybe they knew about my hair and my heels. I don't know. But we are here and we're together, and it's awesome to look around this room and see all these beautiful faces that I know and love in our community that want to stand up for our trans brothers and sisters, right? You know, it might make somebody feel any kind of way to have a cisgender lesbian woman up here assisting, but the thing, you know, I'm a Latina, I'm a woman. I know what it feels like to be marginalized. I know what it feels like to want to sit at the table when men don't let us talk. I know what it feels like to feel unsafe. So me and my trans sisters have a lot in common. And here's the thing. I asked Adriana, I said, hey, how can I help? And this is what I learned from folks like Tatiana Braxton. This is what I learned from these girls. If you want to help, you ask, what the hell can I do? Right? And that's what I said. I said, Adriana, can I help? What can I do? Is there something I can do? I'll be right back, girl. I got something for you to do. And here we are. So welcome to the Transgender Day of Visibility here at the Equality Center. We have an incredible program for you this evening. And we've got like all the big guns here. You know, we've got Ariana Center representing Ariana Center, Trans Social, the McKinsey Project. You know, these are people that do the work, right? They do the work. They're the ones that if you have it in your heart and you want to do some volunteering or you want to do some work or you want to tithe in some way, these are the organizations that you need to go to and tell them, I'm here for you, right? I am here for you. So, yeah, let's get started with this incredible program. We've got so much for you. We have entertainment, we have spoken word, we have a lot of incredible things for you this evening. But let's start with our with the Deputy Director of TransInclusive Group, Nick Zantop.
Hey, y'all. So I just learned a few minutes ago that I was speaking, but you know what? Visibility is all about stepping up when it's time to speak and taking up space in rooms where our voices are not always wanted. And here in Florida, you know, there's a lot of people who don't want us in spaces. They don't want us in rooms. They don't want us around at all because trans visibility is powerful. Let me hear everyone say, trans rights are human rights. Let's say that again. That sounds really nice. Trans rights are human rights. So my name is Nick. I use they, them pronouns. I'm the Deputy Director at TransInclusive Group. We're an amazing trans-led organization headquartered right in the building behind here. We are led by Tatiana Williams, a powerful leader. Let's get a round of applause for Tatiana. So a little bit about our organization. We provide a whole wide array of services and support for the trans and non-binary community. We do things like providing access to emergency crisis assistance, providing micro grants to people to help pay their cell phone bills, to help fill prescriptions. We provide educational workshops. We provide all kinds of resources. And right now we're doing all of this work against a backdrop of hate and discrimination in our state. We have politicians who want to erase us, all of us. And you know, in 1969, at the Stonewall Inn, who was there on the front lines? It was Black and brown trans women. We stand on their shoulders. We build off of the legacy that they began. And you know, as queer folks, as LGBTQ plus folks, as trans folks and non-binary folks, that work has been continuing for a very long time. We are used to this fight, but we are very tired of fighting. But if there's one thing we will do, it is keep fighting. Because we have to. When we have those young trans kids who are sitting home and wondering, is there anyone in my corner? Is there anyone who has my back? We will always be there. We will always have their back. It doesn't matter what kind of hate they push out. And this year we are seeing more hate than ever. Already, I believe the latest number was something like 470 horrible bills around the United States. Last year, it was around 270. So it's looking like we may have double the number of horrible bills that we did last year. And like I said, that is because our community is powerful. We stand for things that are deeply moving. We stand for equity, empowerment, human rights. We want opportunity and joy for every single one of our siblings. So it's an honor to be here with you all tonight. You know, I was really looking forward to being able to march down Wilton Drive and take up space and be very visible. The rain had other plans. You know, we wanted to do this march last year as well, and the rain had other plans then as well. So, but you know what? We are here together. We are taking up that space. And I am honored to be here with all of you. Thank you all so very much for being with us. We are actually going to be opening up our new drop-in center tonight, right after this program. It's going to be in that back building. So don't take off unless you come and see our space first. Now let me turn things over to one of my amazing colleagues in the community, Ariana Lint.
Hola y muy buenas noches a todos ustedes. Mi nombre es Ariana Lin y soy la directora ejecutiva de la organización Ariana Center, que se encarga de empoderar a la comunidad translatina e inmigrante de acá de Estados Unidos y sobre todo del sur de la Florida. I understand many of you don't understand me, but I have to talking and the people we serving. My name is Ariana Lin. I am the CEO of Ariana Center, what is one of trans-led organizations founded in 2015. We just have the mission to empower and lift up the transgender community. I want to say thank you so much to the amazing work and collaborative work of the whole trans-led organizations for this month, especially with TransInclusive, the Mackenzie Project, TransSocial, and Ariana Center. Those organizations who they are working together in many labels and many seats. Some seats they don't allow to be there, but they allow, so they working for us. And that is how we're working in the South Florida. Transgender power, we have the power, and we have to demanding the power what we have. Right now, a lot of bills affecting us personally in our personal life. And it's so important to advocate for that. And it's so important the funding coming to trans-led organizations because we are affecting and we know how we can fight back these laws in the state. So it's so important for advocate for our life, and I'm so proud to be working together in community because no matter what, the whole trans-led organization in South Florida, we are unity and we're working and we are visible. And that is the way what we have to do. Thank you so much.
The beautiful Ariana Lynn. Who looks good in yellow? Only Ariana. Right? Right? Who looks good in yellow? Ariana. Oh my God. Jeez, I love her. So we're gonna have some performers this evening. So just like, you know, when we're at the club and when we're at the brunch, if you've got those dollar bills, those 5 10s or whatever, make sure you pull them out because the girls need to pay bills. Right? Okay. So this our first performer, my God, she is just so gorgeous. Oh my Lord. She is your present Miss Florida FI. And did I mention how gorgeous she is? Like I was one of the judges when she was crowned, and I got to tell you that evening I had some interesting dreams about her. Please welcome to the stage, Juliana Rivera.
Ingenuidad pensabas de mí cuando todo te di. Ingenuidad porque te creí. Lo que quisiste yo fui tu cura, fui tu remedio. Como una pluma en el viento, flotaba según tu aliento, según tu respiración. Daba mi vida por ti y eso me hacía feliz porque todo lo que te daba era verdadero amor. Ingenuidad no era que yo creyera todo aquello que hiciste y dijiste. Ingenuidad era que tú mintieras tanto porque a la vuelta perdiste. Ingenuidad no era que yo te amara y que te diera mi vida sin medida. Ingenuidad era que tú pensaras que con falsas promesas me quedaría. Sin preguntas todo te di, cada beso fue para ti. No había duda en mi pensamiento, contigo iría hasta el fin. Mi cariño fue tan sincero que me creí todo el juego y de eso no me arrepiento. Mi corazón es así, pero tú cambiaste las cosas, se marchitaron las rosas, dejaste ver el engaño y ahora lloras por mí. Ingenuidad no era que yo creyera todo aquello que hiciste y dijiste. Ingenuidad era que tú mintieras tanto porque a la vuelta perdiste. Ingenuidad no era que yo te amara y que te diera mi vida sin medida. Ingenuidad era que tú pensaras que con falsas promesas me quedaría. Te di mis manos como un niño que simplemente da cariño. Yo te entregué mis deseos, mis sueños y hasta mis miedos. Haber creído que me amabas no fue tan cruel como pensaba. Ingenuidad fue mentirme, pues tu crueldad te castiga. Ya nunca más regresaré. Y por aquí ni vuelvas. Yo solo daba la verdad y tú mentiras. Toda mi vida te entregué y no supiste para qué. Siempre cumplí lo que juré, tú no cumplías. Ingenuidad no fue creer, tu engaño fue la ingenuidad.
Juliana. I just got paid for my services by Juliana. Yes! Thank you very much for that. Our next performer, when you think of icon and iconic, it's this woman up here, all right? This woman coming up next. I saw her at the at Sun Serve Shine Gala on Friday, and she looked like she had killed 60 disco balls and made a dress out of it. But it was working, bitch. It was working, all right? Without any further ado, please help me welcome. By the way, audio, please put the music louder, please, okay? Our next performer needs it louder, okay? All right. Please give it up for Tiffany Arriagas.
Hold stay, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. And will always love you. Will always love you. My darling, bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. And will always love you. Will always love I hope life treats you kind, and I hope you have all you dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love.
Tiffany, would you like to say something? Would you like to say something, please? Please, please.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Use the mic.
Use the mic. Okay, now take your time.
Damn, it's hard getting old. Yeah. But I love it. Oh shit. That's just like a hot flash, girl. Thank you, baby. Well, I gotta keep the suckers cool, you know what I mean? Anyway, oh, that looks so wrong. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Oh, shoot. Oh, I love that. It was wonderful. Could somebody help me get my dress? Mama, let's get one of the men to do it, girl. See, now that's a sister for an old lady. I love it. Thank you, Mommy. Okay. Girl. Yeah, because, girl, I can't afford to buy another one for at least another year. Anyway. Thank you. Thank you, Jess. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for that wonderful reception. I was trying to think of what to do because when Adriana asked me to come tonight, I was so pleased, so pleased. You know, I'm only just a few years older than some of you, most of you. But ladies and gentlemen, I remember a long time ago walking with my mother in the Civil Rights March when I was just a little bitty baby. And then I remember when we fought for gay rights, when it started back in New York at the Stonewall. I remember that it's the energy that spread, the purpose, just engulfed everybody. We weren't trying to say what our sexuality was. I was saying, honey, respect us for being who we are. You know, we all said gay, that was it for everybody at one time. I'm so glad that I was part of that fight. And I thought I'd never have to see that fight again. But now I look at it, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like history trying to repeat itself. And I'm saying no. You know, I would love to have a chance to just get to Tallahassee and say to Ron DeSantis, you don't know me. None of you, those people, know any of us. They're just going about their way trying to make it, trying to have power and more power. Take the people, the power of the person, of the people from us so that they can tell us what to do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we went through that fight. I was talking to some friends of mine who they're not so involved in the community, but I explained to them. I said, do you understand that with that in New York, there's a Stonewall. It was queens. I hate the word drag queen, but I got to use it. It was drag queens and their friends who started the fight. When we had HIV and HIV started, it was drag queens who did the fundraising all over the country. Thank God for our brothers and sisters who contributed and helped us. But I just had to tell somebody, because, you know, when you get old, you start telling the truth. I said, when we were sitting outside raising money, the club owner made money, the DJ made money, the bartender made money, the waiter made money, the dishwasher made money, the girls, excuse me, we did it from our heart. And we didn't make no money. We took all our chips and gave it into the pot. And because we didn't have we had no government funding to help us. I remember, and I tell it now because they can't put me in jail. When we had the One Sicky Foundation, AZT. I used to work in Texas a lot, and I went to Mexico, and I'd go pick up ACT and bring it back in my luggage, in my bra. I never thought about going to jail because I wasn't scared. I just knew that was a purpose that we had to do. I thank God for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I talk to everybody now, and I tell them, we have to stand up in order to beat this fight, in order to beat these people who are trying to take away the rights of women, where they have power over their bodies. Education, believe it or not, what they're doing for education, they're trying to make our kids dumb. while their kids get smarter. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. And they say woke. I found out yesterday when I was looking at TV that woke was the word woke was in the first song that they heard it. It was Erykah Badu when she said "Stay woke." That was the song, and I saw an interview with her last night. So I say wake up. You know, wake up, stand up. We have to join with the other communities. We fight for the right to be free. Fight for the right to love who you want. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join all of us in the fight for drag, because you know what drag is. They say what we do. We don't bother nobody. I think drag means love. My director wrote a speech for me the other night because I had to be politically correct. I tell you, when you get old, you tell the truth. So they said, Tiffany, you can't say that. You can't. So I said, you better write it down for me. And I told everybody, I said, I had him write it down and I'm reading it from here. But I don't have that speech now. But there was a phrase in there that said, drag conquers hate. I thought, how wonderful, because every time you go to a drag show, most of you leave happy and crazy. We didn't have videos back then. So, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta cut this short and just say that we have a march coming up, a march on Tallahassee that we're trying to put together for, I can't say the date right now because I'm sworn to secrecy about that, but I will let you know. I want you to join us for that march. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a drive going up to Tallahassee on Monday and Tuesday. They need people to fill the buses. Go. You don't have to be you don't have to be an impersonator. You don't have to be an entertainer. I'm blessed that I was able to do that and other things. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go and help each other and fight the fight and show them, no, not this time. So God bless you. Thank you so much. I love you.
Please give Tiffany Arriagas another round of applause. Please, please, please. She did that whole entire performance, the extended remix, and then did a whole speech. My ass would have been on the floor like that dress. Tiffany, we love you, Mama. We love you. You keep shining. You're just so incredible. We're going to keep the program going with just another incredible human being from the Mackenzie Project. She is leader of the Mackenzie Project. You know her. We love her. Jasmine Mackenzie. Cute in denim. I'm gonna take my shoes off. Please go right ahead. You get comfortable.
Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. I want to say thank you all for showing up for something so amazing, yet powerful and much needed, especially when we all work together. Secondly, I would like to share in how blessed and thankful I am as a Black Executive Director of Transgender Experience to stand before you to be breathing while Black and trans, who come from survival sex work, facing homelessness, being molested, and openly living with HIV of 19 years. To be here in this space, to be the light that shines bright on my community, to give you all the extra push and confidence to be fearless and fierce, puts a very huge smile on my face. Today is March 29th, 2 days before one of the most important days in transgender history. Observed every March 31st, Transgender Day of Visibility is near. But today, we come to our community a few days earlier to bring the attention to the accomplishments of transgender people, spread awareness about challenges facing the community, and act as a day of listening so that cisgender people can learn more about the transgender experience. The first time I felt visible as a Black transgender woman was back in 2019 after the death of Kiki Fantroy, a young Black woman of transgender experience who was gunned down in Homestead, Florida. At this time of my life, the sex work industry had come to a slow standstill due to the change of me being a full-time voice of my community. Days later, I received a phone call from folks saying, "You're not scared to be all over the news? Oh, I saw you speak. You spoke so well on the news." And in my mind, I slightly felt offended because people continue to look at Black women of transgender experience as either angry or they can't speak well in public. That is a stigma that comes with the territory of breathing while Black and trans, which is why it is very important for more Black transgender women to be visible in spaces like this. Historically, transgender people have been among some of the most marginalized in society, which makes the battle to be visible all the more challenging and complicated. Visibility is a privilege that transgender people have been denied and tirelessly work to attain around the world. Even in our own LGBTQI plus community, visibility for transgender people is coming from a community that has been largely invisible and excluded from events, meeting, socio-political discourse, and amongst many other things. The T is often excluded in conversations, but continue to be welcome to be asked to be a part of board of directors of folks who are only tokenizing our gender. The reality of it all is transgender people face circumstances like this daily and work to come back. Last time I stood before you all in the same exact room, I spoke in regards to part one of my book titled Breathing While Black and Trans. Today I come to you with a word titled Endangered Species. Sometimes I feel like my identity has an expiration date on it, waiting to be silenced. Silence in a sense where no one could ever share a memory with me. I must always remind people that before my identity, I am breathing while Black, then I'm trans. Oftentimes we hear people shout and scream, Black trans lives matter, but what exactly does that mean for those who aren't breathing while Black and trans? How do you justify this racist, systematic system? How do you come to common ground in community to create solidarity so the unprivileged can feel safe? Until racism is totally eradicated, we will continue to face anti-Blackness. If the state of Florida is vigorously enforcing a change, then we must enforce what support and resources look like. Can I get 3 people in here who are not Black to tell me what support look like? Go ahead.
Support for me as a Latina, it's very hard for me because even my own father is against me because he never understood what trans was. And when I explained to him, he was like, "Oh, this is such blasphemy. This is such like a rudeness. This is such like an upstart."
Mm-hmm.
And even when like my mom, who thank God understood me, she was like, "This is totally normal. This is what like support looks like. I will always love you, even though that you may be our son and our only son, and our daughter now, but I will always love you." And that always, that when my mother supported me, that she always took these words with wisdom, that she said, "No matter how far I am, I will always love you to the moon and back." And my dad took these words very like shrewdly because he said, "Well, the moon is only 2,654 miles away." I said, "Miles has nothing to do with love. With love, everything conquers all. Because with love, we fight, we stand, and we are a trans community. With love, everything bonds together." Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Test. I am a trans man. I am not Black. I support my trans and Black, all trans people. To support the Black trans community means to be there for them, stand on their side, ask them how we can help them. Be there for them at all times. Don't speak for them, let them speak. Just hold their hand and be by them at all times. Attend the events and spread the word. Encourage others to be supportive. That's how support grows. One by one conversation at a time will change our world.
Okay. Due to time restrictions, I'm only going to accept these 2 individuals, and I want to say great. Now, can everyone here take a moment to think to themselves and think about different ways to create a plan of protection for our community? Sex workers, our libraries, the education systems, families of young trans youth who are being forced to not transition and denied the accessible health care and support that they need. Think about how we can thrive and survive together as a community. Suicide is not a piece of candy that our youth get to chew, then spit out because it's nasty. Gender dysphoria is not a holiday for our youth that comes around once a year. It is an action that is a behavior which can be regulated with the right love and support. I want folks here to understand that the state of Florida is currently the state of Florida is currently in survival mode. Anyone that doesn't subscribe to the white, Christian, and conservative mindset wants to destroy and continue to shut down and repeat old history without the knowledge of knowing our history. We will be screwed. We cannot stop the fight, which means we have to continue to protest, continue fighting, continue to get our community to vote, tune into politics, educating your friends, family, even strangers. That means not letting those racist, transphobic, and homophobic comments go beyond your shoulders and being ignored. We have to hold people accountable and continue to be fearless. We continue to pay to live in Florida, which means we have power. So many people in our community have to resort to exploiting and selling their bodily autonomy in order to meet the needs of surviving. This is our community livelihood. We have parents kicking youth out because they lack the understanding of unconditional love, or taking the time to look for resources because they are stuck with the embedding of old school stigma and disbelief. This issue is intersectional, not just based on gender, race, or sex. This is about social class. For those that don't know, social class is inequality, simply puts, signals the fact that wealth is unevenly distributed across our population and modern day society. This leads to inequalities between social class based on wealth, income, and related factors. I have a whole lot more, but I'm not going to give y'all all that good because we're on the time. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in, for being here. And again, I am Jasmine McKenzie, the CEO, founder of the McKenzie Project. Thank you. Somebody tips.
Oh, okay.
Somebody left their tips.
You better give that to Tiffany before she come after you. Serious? You think I'm kidding? You know Tiffany, right? Please give Jasmine McKenzie another round of applause, please. You know, you're always on your phone. Make sure that you follow all these organizations on social media, all right? There's always something good, and there's always an event to be at or to help fundraise for somebody else. So make sure that you follow all these organizations when you're on your phone next. So are you ready for our next entertainer? Did you not eat enough? What the hell? Give these people more wine. Are you ready for your next entertainer? I love this. We have a drag king performer. I'll just stand here and smile. Look at my shirt. Look at my boobs. Okay. A lesbian walks into a bar. That's it. What bar? There's no lesbian bars. But right, Raji? You got me. Right? Thank God for Carol and Josie. Josie, love you. So I'll take a moment to just remind everyone that on Friday, we're actually going to have a Transgender Day of Visibility Queer News Tonight airing with all incredible trans folks. I know that Adriana and I know that Tatiana Williams is also on it. Who else, Al, is on that show? All right, Morgan Mayfair. We all love Morgan, right? Once you get Morgan talking, he won't stop. Right? But you got to get him talking. First, he's all shy about it, right? And all of a sudden, it's like, blah, 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 blah. But that's going to be an incredible queer news tonight. Make sure you watch it on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV. You can watch it anywhere. You can also watch it online, but it's going to be fantastic. And then you'll see this program right after. So you'll see when Tiffany's boob almost came out. but it did not. She knows how to do it. You know, I met Tiffany a couple of years ago after like meeting her when I was like a small little baby dyke. And I'm like, Tiffany, oh my God, like you're so gorgeous. And she's like, girl, one of my boobs is older than you. And I said, girl, you don't know. I use a lot of Botox. This is Botox and fillers. And speaking of filling time, anybody here from Miami? Can you give me a ride back? Porque esa 95 estaba de pipi. Right? Folks, can I maybe go on to the spoken word maybe? Miss Raji, are you cool with that? All right, okay, who's ready for some spoken word? You know, there is so much that I could say about our next performer. I mean, Raji Naren Singh is just such an incredible spirit, human being, soul. You know, the second that you meet Raji, your family. That's it, right? Yes or no, right? Like, and it don't matter. Like, okay, this woman has been on, you know, just these incredible shows, but she still remembers your ass. She meets you once, and she will never forget you, right? And there is no, if you've never been hugged by these, you've never lived. You have never, ever lived. Consider yourself not lived if you had not been. So without any further ado, to entertain us with some incredible spoken word, please give her a wondrous, huge applause to the beautiful, the wonderful, the lovely Miss Raji Naren Singh.
Boy, I tell you, what an introduction. I got to send her the check in the mail, y'all. So, if there was ever a time to be visible, this is the time for the transgender community to be visible. With all that is going on against our community. And you know, for most of my life, I have felt like I've been in a gender war, just never meeting up to what it means or meant to be a male in the world, to maneuver as male in this world. Just feeling like I've had to justify my existence, you know, apologize for my existence. And you know, like many trans people, I've experienced a lot of discrimination and injustice throughout my life. Horrible bullying growing up. I've been brutally beaten three times in my life, and the worst being in the late 1990s, where I had to literally fight for my life. And as I laid in the bed, 2 black eyes, my face swollen, a split lip, and crying, and actually pleading with God, asking God, why do I have to be this way? Like blaming myself for being brutally attacked. And thank God it didn't kill me. It made me stronger. It gave me the fire to stand up and do something about what was happening to my community. And so, you know, a lot of times you hear the story, you know, these stories of people going through horrible events, and it ends up being the catalyst, you know, to someone going on and doing hopefully some great work. And so I went full force with my activism. I've always been a humanitarian type of person. I volunteered at the hospital, the United Way, the Red Cross, but that was the moment that I knew that I had to focus on my people. And so I went full force with that. And you know, we trans people, we don't just want to be tolerated. We don't just want to be put up with. We want to be respected as human beings. We want to be respected because, you know, beneath all the labels, and a lot of you in here know I have my labels. Should I say it? Raji Naren Singh, transgender activist, actress, author, right? Show host and reality TV personality. But no, all joking aside, you all know what I'm trying to say. Beyond all of our labels, we are human beings. And I want to go even deeper. Look around. We are all living vibrational divine energy of existence. We're miracles. All of us. All of us, we're miracles. So I'm going to use another label. So I'm a multiracial, transgender woman of color of a certain age. Yeah. I've been around the block a few times. And, you know, I was just so happy in my soul to finally see that the transgender civil rights movement, we were having some momentum. There was, you know, a little bit of progression. For now to see that there are people that want to take away the little bit of rights that we work so hard to get. I had a conversation recently with Ashley Mayfair, who is the co-founder. She's over there. Ashley. She's the co-founder and the director of operations at my organization, TransSocial. And we were talking about the transgender civil rights movement and our work, our advocacy. And she said to me, she said, Raji, this is a life's work. And when she said it, I had goose pimples all over my body because this is a life's work. And anyone that's doing the work knows how important this work is. They know that it's important. And it's not only important for us, it's important for the generation of transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming drag queens that will be born into life after we're long gone. I might not live to see true equity and equality for my people, but I can tell you this, I will die trying. I will die trying. I wrote a little poem. I did this actually 2 days ago, so I have it here just in case, you know. But I wrote a little poem in honor of Transgender Day of Visibility. It's called We Exist. Like the butterfly from a cocoon goes through the process of transformation into the striking beauty that it is, we transgender people exist. We exist just like every other human being born into this earthly realm with the birthright to be here. Like the sunflower boldly striking, oddly shaped, vibrant in color, we transgender people resist. We resist the injustice, the discrimination, and the hatred against our community. Like the penguin, the oyster, the bonobo, the male seahorse, the parrotfish, that show the beauty that the diversity that nature has to offer. We transgender people persist. We persist towards true equity and equality that we know our people deserve to have. We exist. We resist. We persist. Keep up the good fight, my family. Love, peace, and blessings.
I love Raji. If you ever have a conversation with her, you never walk away, right? Or like less happy, right? Like you always walk away with like, you know, I just learned some shit, right? I should share this, right? And she's always got candy. So diabetics, you know, maybe stay away from Miss Raji. All right, we've got our next entertainer now, for sure. We have our incredible drag king coming all the way from the faraway lands of West Palm Beach. Round zero.
my back on my dreams and what I believed in. Now I'll take a stand, I won't walk away. I'm gonna find a way, let go of all of these feelings. Save me. And I stare at the fan on the ceiling all night, all night. All these memories won't stop running my mind, my mind. And the rest in the walls keep scratching my life, my life. And all the voices won't stop laughing. I can't find a God. Here comes the invisible man, but no one turns to see. I'm just another dumb fool, never go down in history. Yeah, you're standing there with the homecoming king, turn a silver spoon into a diamond ring. Can he make you disappear without anyone noticing? Yeah, for the homecoming king. You see your life is drawn out. Don't fear the world that you know. Caught in the tower singing, oh no, that's not the life I chose. You'll see your hands are tied now, just like your eyes will stay closed. Caught in the tower singing, oh no, that's not the life I chose. Your thoughts become your enemies when you're locked inside this cage. Life can feel dead to me, and all that's left is rage. Regrets for all the time we wasted thinking of ourselves. Holding on to pain you tasted, living in this hell. Don't wanna go back home tonight, so I drive this road alone. Stay alive for the good times, stay alive through the bad. Stay alive for the hopes and the fears and the dreams, the best that we ever had. I keep telling myself I can take you from this godforsaken place. Stay alive for the good times, stay alive through the bad. Stay alive. Stay alive.
Ground zero? Wow, that was incredible. Ground zero, pronouns, please. Pronouns, please. He, him, okay. He blew me away, right? So initially, like, he reminded me of this emu girl that I was like really into right in high school, right? And then I like moved over to like, oh, I could totally wear that tulle dress, right? And then I wasn't expecting the reveal, right? And then I was like, I could wear that suit too. Like, another round of applause for Ground Zero. Wow. And you know, I love when a young new performer does that to an audience, because like some, you know, I even saw some people, this is a break now. This is break time. I'll go get my wine. I'll go get some cheese, right? All of a sudden, everybody came right back to their chairs like, what is this? Who is this person, right? So make sure you follow Ground Zero on social media. Get him to perform at your prides and your events, okay? I mean, the new generation is that. I love that. Ah, that was awesome. All right. Let's bring it down to some more inspiration, all right? So we've got another gentleman. We've got a gentleman that's going to come up to the podium and talk about his experience. And he is just an incredible, incredible human, okay? He's an activist. He's an advocate for all of us and for dogs. He'll pick dogs over any of you any day. Right? Right? Okay, anybody who knows Morgan is like, yep, that's true. He is co-founder of Trans Social and just an incredible, incredible human being. Please give Morgan Mayfair a round of applause. Do we have another mic that he can use? I can give him this one. Okay, I'll give him this one. Oh, no. Oh, wait. Okay. I broke it. Okay.
Hello. So I guess you already heard that I'm a little shy, okay? Just a little bit. But I don't like podiums and I don't like speeches either, okay? I was asked to come here and tell you what I think of Transgender Day of Visibility. But I think you've already heard enough people talk about visibility. There's other parts of visibility, okay? One is actually seeing people, and we know that you all see us, okay? By the way, I'm a trans man, okay? I'm queer, I'm into leather and a lot of other things, and I love my puppies. So I may be shy, but you might feel my whip one day. Anyway. So, yeah, you see us, but do you know us? Just because you have one friend who's trans doesn't mean you know all of us, okay? We're a very diverse group of people, just like the entire LGBTQIA+, okay? Never judge a book by its cover. You look at me and you'd say, ooh, white dude, maybe Jewish. You're right, I am Jewish. But I'm not a white dude. I'm multiracial, okay? Two people who are biracial and totally different decided to fuck the world. And I'm sorry, I don't censor anything. So you listen to me the way I am. I don't believe in bullshit. So they came together and they created me. And my life was never easy. It was never easy because of that. And it was never easy because on top of the fact that I am trans and always knew I was trans, I was born intersex. But I'm bum. My DNA says male, it always has, okay? I've always acted exactly the way I do. I never had to change my wardrobe either. This is who I am. But we are all different. We're all like different colors of the rainbow, different colors of flowers, everything in nature, okay? But we've always been here. And there's a lot that our own siblings in the LGBTQIA don't know about us. And I'm going to tell you, what's happening now with these attacks, it's coming from something they call misinformation. Misinformation is a blatant effing lie. That's all it is. But it's being packaged in pretty words. Because new words confuse people, okay? And if you throw out enough lies, they stick and people believe them. How many people still believe that Jews are cheap? Okay? A lot of people do. We're not. We're actually pretty smart. And we know how to spend our money. Okay? Trans people. Okay? People think that we're anomalies. We've existed from the beginning of time. Okay? You've been fed a pack of lies being told that there were only two genders. There's actually a spectrum. Okay? And we need to stop falling into the trenches of the belief that we have to toe the line into what a particular gender says we have to represent. I'll wear pink anytime I want, okay? I work on my Jeep and I grow flowers and I love to cook, okay? So you know what? Be who you are and be open to other people. We live in a world of information. When I was a kid, and yes, I'm old, okay? This is not died. I'm 64 years old. I've been around for a very long time. I've seen my friends die of AIDS. I lost almost everybody in my life. And that still does choke me up a bit. A little moment there, okay? Because it was a very hard part of my life. But back when I was a kid, when I wanted to look for information, when I wanted to find out about homosexuals, when I wanted to find out if there were people like me out there, I had to go to the library and look for those books they were hiding. The books they said kids couldn't read, okay? I had to reach for them, take them aside, read between the lines of things sometimes to find something that resembled me, to see that I belong and that I exist in this world, okay? But now we have cell phones. Everybody has the internet. So when those lies are being put out there, it's shame on you and shame on me and shame on all of us if you don't Google and find out the truth. They're saying, that we're mutilating children. No surgeries, no sexual reassignment surgeries are done on children. Come on, okay? They may have been done way in the past someday in some weird place, but we have WPATH and we have to follow those standards. And sometimes it's almost gatekeeping because things are made so difficult for us. We have to get a letter from a therapist. We have to get a letter from a doctor. We have to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop to prove that we are who we are so we can get what we need to be who we are. Nobody else has to go through that shit in this world. A cisgender woman that wants boobs goes and gets them, okay? But a transgender woman who wants boobs has to jump through those hoops. How is that fair? It isn't, okay? So I challenge each and every one of you, when you hear these things, pick up your phone, look for the information, reach out to the community. We're here. Ask us. Come and visit us. Find out who we are. Many of us are parts of those other letters. So we definitely are one community. We're one people. And I know that all of you here are here because you care. But I want you to really go out there and spread this to other people. Don't be afraid to talk. This is a time where we need to do this. That relative of yours that's a Republican, oops, that's on the other side, talk to them. Tell them, do you really love me? Don't tell me you love me, you care about me, you like me and your family, you invite me to your home, and then you vote for people that want to destroy our lives. Have the conversation. I know it hurts. I know it's hard. Talk to your neighbors. We need to do this now more than ever, or they're going to win. And we're not going to let that happen anyway, okay? I'm going to tell you something. For trans youth that may be listening, even if you're not here, okay, or you get to listen to this somehow, we've got your back. And one way or another, we're not going to let you fail, and we're not going to let them erase us. We've always been here. We always will be.
Thank you, Morgan. Small but mighty, isn't he? Shit. Find him in a dark alley. Turn around real quick. Speaking of children, I wanted to give a shout out to the folks here from Safe Schools South Florida that are here from Miami. Scott Galvin down there, Francesca Del More, they're all working so hard. You folks, what you do down there is just incredible. I mean, they're also fighting the big fight for our LGBTQ plus kids, man. They're also getting just targeted left and right, and it's just not fair. It really isn't. Oh, it's time for awards. Yay! You're supposed to say yay! All right. Next, coming up to the podium, honestly, she needs no introduction, but she really is just an incredible activist and advocate. She smells wonderful all the time. She's the ED of TransInclusive. Please give her a warm welcome, Tatiana Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out this evening. I want you to give all of the entertainers a round of applause. So for me, this evening, Trans Day of Visibility was about uplifting and highlighting the talents of our community, and I wanted it to be kind of the upbeat. And just for me, it's almost like it's taking me like down a little bit because there's a lot of things that are going on with me, so my energy kind of shifted. And I was hoping this evening was going to uplift me opposed to taking me down. So I definitely want to recognize an individual this evening that has been a pillar in this community. And let me just go back to my own history. Before I knew this individual, I was in the work that we do, I was an entertainer. And being an entertainer, you also have people that you look up to, mentors, all of those things. And so when I came to do this work, what was so interesting to me, because oftentimes entertainers entertain, but when it comes to doing the work, they're not there. So when I came to this work and I seen this particular entertainer doing the work, and then I did my research, I'm like, oh, wait. Oh, she was not only entertaining, and we was looking at her as a mentor, but this person was also doing the work behind the scenes. And with her doing the work behind the scenes, and I'm not just talking on a local level, I'm talking on a national level. I mean, when you say Tiffany Andretta Arriagas, when you say that, it's like that name just ring bells. She's legendary. I mean, she's larger than life, and just to see her performing would just give you life. So for me, I think it's important to recognize her on this day of visibility for all the contributions that she contributed to our community, not only in our drag community, but also in the community of HIV, in the community of social services. So tonight, could we like stand up and give this individual a round of applause? So, Ms. Arriagas, I would like to present you this Legacy Award from TransInclusive Group. And I want you to say a few words, but I want to acknowledge that, and Ms. Kenzie mentioned it earlier, it takes hell for a Black trans woman, not to negate anybody else, but it takes hell for us to survive in this community. For this woman to still be standing here and doing the work, that's great and that's amazing. So we have to acknowledge that. So for me, I owe you everything to still be doing this work. And thank you for what you do and empowering me to continue to do what I do.
Thank you. Yeah. Come here, girl. Okay. Well, I talked myself to death earlier. But anyway, God, all these accolades, it's kind of overpowering because it's a blessing just to be alive and to be able to do what what I'm blessed to do. But I remember when we didn't have social services to help the transgender ladies, and we had the mothers of the house and everything, and we had the very first agency I tried to start way back here in Fort Lauderdale. But ladies and gentlemen, how we've progressed, and that we have. And I went on the internet, so I'd be on time with this one. And that's a hard thing for an old lady to do. But and I looked up. See, I got so crazy. TransInclusive, and I read all about you because I've known Tatiana since she was a little, well, not that, a little bitty girl. When I first came down here and I was working at the Copa, I've seen what she has done with your partner, Nick. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to make sure. Then I have all the ladies that I worked with over the years, Jess and Raji and Oh my, I don't want to leave nobody out. And my bicycle lady, girl. Carvel. Mwah. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Adriana. I mean, and then I have all the boys, the girls. All I can say is how wonderful it is that the power that you and all of the ladies, we're all coming together to fight for the right to be free. For the children. I say we're fighting for the children because the children are our future. So children never know anything about being prejudiced when they're like this. It's all inbred in the parents, the older people, and they pass it on to the children. So when they say that we are bad for children, I don't believe it. Honey, we are love. That's all we are. It's nothing but love and positive energy. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to talk too much. God bless you. And thank you.
Someone pour Miss Tiffany a double, please. Don't give her no plastic cup. She don't go like that. Pinky out and everything. Love you, Tiffany. All right, let's keep the entertainers going, all right? Please welcome to the stage, China Stacks Hilton.
This is Trina. You already know that. This is Space.
Turn the lights on.
6 in the morning, nigga at my door. I'm trying to figure out what he out there for. Last time I seen him, he was talking shit. Found out his new girl can't suck no dick. Hit the intercom, I ain't let him in. Pussy nigga lucky I ain't fuck his friends. Probably thought a bitch would be down and out till he see me riding round in that chromed out Benz. South Beach nigga, you ain't bout that life. You cross that bridge, they taking all that ice. You don't want no problems with them boys from the bottom. Strip your ass butt naked and hit the turnpike. You's a fuck boy. My bitch been said it. That's why I shoulda let your best friend get it. We went on trips, you bought Chanel, but money ain't shit when you soft as hell. Cause you's a fuck boy. My mama even said it. Got a new nigga, I ain't even gotta sweat it. You still gon' talk, and that's a goddamn shame. But a hoe gon' be a hoe, and the lame gon' be a lame.
Let me put my left foot in the game now. Put my right foot in the game now. Let me show y'all what I'm working with. Time to slide to the dance floor. Blow up, show up. You a hating ass bitch, so what? I'm the baddest bitch, show enough. They know my clique so tough. You wanna do what? Hold up. Switch up flows, yes folks. Drop top 6 foes, yes folks. Keep up with me, I'm on the west coast. I get love from the Bloods and Crips. They love the hips, hottest shit in the south. They love to hear me. Trick, Brick, Deuce, Mob, CO, get loose. Slip and slide here forever. Stop acting, I step out and camera stop flashing. That's right. Me and my girls going out tonight, and I don't wanna fight tonight. Get my bread. Ain't nothing you can do when the woman's fed up. And I'm fed up, nigga. Shut up, nigga. Go on about your business, get my bread up, nigga. Boy, I find me a player who can treat me better. Take me to sleep and eat me better. You want a real bitch who'll fuck you and feed ya? Fuck nigga, I don't need ya. And you ain't gotta love me or like me. And hell nah, I don't wanna be your wifey. Cause I'm a bad bitch on the ball. And when you go to jail, fuck nigga, don't call. You want me to stay? Nigga, you gon' pay. Give me that dope, hey boy, don't play.
Remix.
I want my ass smacked.
Slip and slide just a leg.
Ass smacked.
Slip and slide just a leg.
Wait, bitch, I'ma blow my kisses. Get pissed and throw my dishes. Y'all niggas know just who this is. And the head so vicious. With me, this shit gon' cost. You short, then that's your loss. You know this ass is soft. Like an
and slide. With some legs on mine. Ass smack. Front back. Slip and slide. With some legs on mine.
Diamond princess, just mind your business. These rumors are senseless. Your whispers are endless. We live in ghetto fab. We spending hella cash. This girl is hella bad. Your choice is trailer trash. Too much taste for whores. You saw me grace the swords. You watch me work the vibe. Bitches, I works for mine. One time for these divas. Two times for these visas. Third time I come, I'm breezing. The ice just keeps on freezing. Hold up, I'ma keep it going. Back to back, I'ma keep on blowing. Platinum plaques, keeping it hood. West Saks, keeping it good. Look, girl, you don't know my angle. 100,000 a platinum bangle. My niggas will slow your roll. Pussy power, we in control.
Slip and slide. With some legs on mine.
Ass smack. Front back.
Slip and slide. With some legs on mine.
China Stacks Hilton. Give her another round of applause, please. We're going to go to Prince. I already told him. Is that cool? Okay. Matthew, you ready? Yeah, all right. All right. Let's give it up for Matthew Mugalin.
I know you want it, but you're never gonna get it. तेरे हाथ कभी ना पानी माने ना माने कोई दुनिया ये सारी मेरे इश्क की है दीवानी
Mugalin. I don't want to say her last name wrong. I love that. Wasn't she awesome? Oh my God. I was trying to do the move and I think I hurt myself. Don't try that at home. Ouch, Matthew. Jeez. We've got another entertainer for you. Are you ready? Yes. All right. Give a huge round of applause for Prince Z.
Time tonight, girl. Above us, all the stars are watching. There's no place I'd rather be in this world. Your eyes are where I'm lost in. Underneath the chandelier, we're dancing all alone. There's no reason to hide what we're feeling inside right now.
baby, say baby, what you doing? What you doing? Where you at? Where you at? Oh, you got plans? You got plans? Don't say that. Shut your trap. I'm sipping wine, sip, sip. In a robe. Trip, trip. I look too good to be alone. My house clean, my pool warm. Just shake smooth like a newborn. We should be dancing, romancing in the east wing and the west wing of this mansion. What's happening? I ain't playing no games. Every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you're trying to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open, girl. I'ma leave the door open, open. That you feel the way I feel and you want me like I want you tonight, baby. Tell me that you're coming through. Ooh, you're so sweet, so sweet, so tight, so tight. I won't bite unless you like. If you smoke, what you smoke? I got the haze. And if you're hungry, girl, I got fillets. Ooh, baby, don't keep me waiting. There's so much love we could be making. I'm talking kissing, cuddling, rose petals in the bathtub. Girl, it's jumping, it's bubbling. I ain't playing no games. Every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you're trying to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open, girl. I'ma leave the door open. That you feel the way I feel and you want me like I want you tonight, baby. Tell me that you're coming through. I need you, baby. La la la, la 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 la. I got to see you, baby. La la la, la 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 la. Girl, I'm trying to give you this. Hey, I'ma leave my door open. I'ma leave the door open, baby. I'ma leave my door open, girl. And I'm hoping that you feel the way I feel and you want me like I want you tonight, baby. Tell me that you're coming
Of course he had to be one of your brothers, Elimination. All that swag. He has so much swag, man. He had me questioning my sexuality and stuff. Texting my wife going, boo, I might be home late. I laughed because I wouldn't know what the hell to do. All right. It is now time for another incredible woman to come up here to the podium and share her experience, strength, and hope. She is just a light. She's a friend and she's just an incredible human being. She's on the board of governors for the HRC. She's trans-inclusive. There's so much that I could say about Adriana that I can be here for another hour, just stating all the incredible accolades. But first and foremost, she's a wonderful soul, and she makes you feel seen. And, I don't know about you guys, but that's so important. Please give a huge round of applause to the beautiful, to the remarkable, to my friend and yours, Miss Adriana Tender. Yes.
Oh, I can't stop sweating. I hope it ain't menopause. Oh my goodness, thank y'all so much for coming out tonight. It just meant so much to us at TransInclusive Group that you came out to spend a little time with us. And I keep telling you that's Jameer, not me. So I was asked to come up here and talk about what visibility means to me. And so I don't want to bring anyone down, but when I think about visibility, I think about myself being raised in Panama City, Florida. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. I've heard they call it the Redneck Riviera. Just what I heard. But what I will say, it's not very inclusive. And what I will say is I was raised by a mother who was a minister and worked for the school board system, and my father was in the military. And so I spent most of my nights in the church. If it wasn't Sunday, I was at church. Saturday, I was at choir rehearsal, I was at church. Wednesday, Bible study at church. Does anybody else have an experience like that? Okay, so that's what my life was like. And even though my parents were they were so proud of me and they wanted me to be the best that I could be, and they always uplifted me and they always would say, like, listen, you can do anything that you put your mind to. But I always had that feeling that something was wrong because I was different. And their teachings that the church taught me and my parents, it made me feel a little down about myself. It made me feel bad about myself. I was always trying to prove myself. And one of those reasons is because I could not look out in Panama City and see anyone that looked like me, resembled me, made me feel like that's who I was. That was the person that I want to be. But what I will say, that's what visibility means. What visibility is to me is being able to stand here today and be a representative for my community and be able to, for my other fellow siblings, to be able to look at me and say, hey, you know what? I can be that person one day. And we have trans lawyers, trans doctors, trans teachers, trans firemen, trans plumbers, trans electricians. We have trans people that are empowering and beautiful out there, that are representative of our community, and that's what we need, and that's what's so important when we say trans visibility. And so all of these crazy bills that are going on here in the legislature, I mean, there are so many that are affecting us as trans people. And what I want from each one of you, are you registered to vote? Yeah. Are you registered to vote? Yeah. Then I want you to get out there and go vote. Yeah. And I'm going to share something small. So I'm also part of a group called the Dolphin Democrats. And the Dolphin Democrats and the Human Rights Campaign, we are sending people to Tallahassee to tell their stories for the legislative session. So if you are LGBTQ and these bills are affecting you, then you need to be on that bus. If you are Black and you have a problem with the Don't Say Woke bill, or the fact that they're trying to take our fraternities and sororities out of our national and federal schools, you should be on that bus. So, Bud, where are you? Is he still? There you are, Bud. So, if you would like to get on this bus and go to Tallahassee on April 3rd and 4th, see this gentleman over here. He has a QR code that you can scan, and we will put you on that bus for free. Okay? Great. So, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to keep this moving. The next person that we're going to bring to the stage is none other than Tiana Love.
Back when I had a little, I thought that I needed a lot. A little was overrated, but a lot was a little too complicated. See, zero didn't satisfy me, a million didn't make me happy. That's when I learned the lesson, that it's all about your perceptions. Hey, are you a popper or a superstar? So you act, so you feel, so you are. It ain't about the size of your car, it's about the size of the faith in your heart. There's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. There's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. There's hope. In the backcountry of Brazil, I met a young brother that made me feel that I could accomplish anything. You see, just like me, he wanted to sing. He had no windows and no doors. He lived a simple life and was extremely poor. On top of all of that, he had no eyesight, but that didn't keep him from seeing the light. He said, oh, us like in the USA, and all I did was complain. He said, living here is paradise. He taught me paradise is in your mind. You know that there's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. There's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. There's hope. Every time I turn on the TV, there's hope. Somebody's acting crazy, there's hope. If you let it, it'll drive you crazy, there's hope. But I'm taking back my power today, there's hope. Gas prices, they just keep on rising, there's hope. The government, they keep on lying. We gotta keep on surviving, keep living our truth and do the best we can do. Cause there's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. Yeah, yeah, there's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. Hey, yeah, yeah, there's hope, so stand up for yourself. Keep shining your light, and show the world it's yours. Stand up for yourself. Keep shining your light, and show the world you're yours. There's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. Better thank God for that. There's hope, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh, you better thank God for that. Yeah, yeah, there's hope. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Give it up for Tiana Love, your Miss Florida at large. Yes. Incredible. And now for some final words, please help me welcome back to the stage, Tatiana Williams.
So, we've gotten to the end of another Trans Day of Visibility 2023, and it was great to have all you in our presence here at the Pride Center. As I mentioned earlier, I want to kind of leave on an upbeat note, and I like that song from Tiana. I want to also welcome you all as well to our new drop-in space that is located in Building B. We wanted to do an opening, but I believe it's still raining. Just a little. Well, okay. Yeah. So yeah, we wanted to give you all the opportunity to tour our space in the back, if you had time, if weather permits. But for me, I enjoyed myself. I don't have anything else to add. I appreciate the amazing entertainers that entertained us this evening. For me, I'm still a little down because some of you know and some of you don't know. The vice president of TransInclusive Group, Brianna Young, passed last Saturday. And we have family members here. So for me, it's like my emotions are going like up and down. And so that's why I wanted like more upbeat and not like so down. But everything is good. And so her daughter, America Demore, is right there here in full support. And Jasmine McKenzie is America's daughter, which is her granddaughter, is here as well. Which is why I mentioned earlier about it takes a lot for Black trans women to even make it, this far. And for us to still be here is a blessing. So I want to leave everybody on that note. Party, have a good time. And if you want to be a part and come to support Brianna's celebration of life, that'll be, I believe it's April the 15th. But you can watch my page, America Demore, and Tatiana Williams, Braxton, whatever that is, Jasmine McKenzie, and we, because there's a lot of names, and yeah, and I ain't tell you all of them. And yeah, and you can follow us, and we'll definitely be posting information for her celebration of life. So, and if you want to join us, we're going right in the back in Building B to do the ribbon cutting, if weather permits. And thank you all. I enjoyed. Thank you for being here.